Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something kind of interesting today, listening. We all do it every day, but maybe not as well as we think.
Oh, yeah.
You guys sent in a script based on some BBC research from a YouTube video, and honestly, that opening statistic really caught my eye.
Okay, what was it?
Most people rate themselves as excellent listeners, but the studies show that's just not true.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, what does it actually take to be good at listening?
Well, it's funny because we think of listening as like this passive thing,
Yeah.
but it's actually pretty active. It's
Yeah.
way more than just hearing words. It's about understanding the message behind them, the emotion, the context, like all of it.
Yeah, for sure. And the script highlights a few benefits to being a good listener, right? Like
Yeah.
building trust, understanding each other better, and it encourages other people to open up more. But I'm curious, why are those things so important
Well,
now?
just think about it. When someone really listens to you, like really listens to you, it makes you feel valued, right?
Mhm.
Like your thoughts and feelings actually matter. And
Right.
that's the foundation of trust. And when you feel trusted, you're way more likely to share openly. And that just leads to a deeper understanding. It's like a cycle, a good cycle.
That makes total sense. It's like being listened to validates us, and that validation makes us feel safe to be vulnerable and connect on a deeper level.
Mhm.
But okay, let's be honest, we all have those moments where we zone out or interrupt, or I do at least.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are some of those common pitfalls that the script points out?
Well, it mentions things like interrupting too soon or getting distracted by our phones.
Ah, yes.
Even like thinking ahead to what we're going to say next instead of really listening to the person talking. It's
Mm.
like our brains are wired to multitask, but that doesn't really work when it comes to conversations.
Yeah, and it's so true. The script says that almost 70% of people admit to these bad listening habits. It's like we're all in this together, battling our own distracted minds. But what's interesting is that the script says that these things aren't personal failings, they're habits. So
Mm.
that means they can be changed, right?
Totally. And that's where the good stuff comes in, the actionable stuff.
Yeah.
The script suggests some practical tips, starting with something called active listening.
Active listening.
Yeah, it's about engaging with the speaker, verbally and non-verbally, just to show that you're present and interested.
So instead of just sitting there like a statue, we should nod, make eye contact, and even use affirmations like, I see, or tell me more.
Exactly. Those little cues tell the speaker, hey, I'm here with you, I'm listening. It makes a huge difference in how heard and understood they feel. And it helps you as the listener to stay focused too.
It's a two-way street, benefiting both the speaker and the listener. But the script also talks about avoiding multitasking, right? Especially during those important conversations. And it seems like our devices are like public enemy number one.
Oh, absolutely. How often do we really give someone our undivided attention these days?
Yeah.
It's so rare with all these notifications and distractions,
Yeah.
putting away our phones, closing our laptops, silencing all those notification pings. It's a powerful way to show respect and make space for a real connection.
Yeah, it can be tough, but I think it's definitely worth it. What about asking open-ended questions? How does that help us be better listeners?
Well, that's how you move beyond just surface-level chit-chat and get into more meaningful conversation. Instead of asking those yes or no questions, open-ended questions, let the speaker, share more, elaborate, reveal their thoughts and feelings. It shows that you're genuinely curious.
So instead of saying, did you have a good day? Which basically ends the conversation before it starts, we should try something like, what was the highlight of your day? It opens up a whole new avenue for connection.
It's like turning a spotlight on the speaker's experiences, allowing them to share what's really on their mind. That's where things get really interesting because you start to see the layers beneath the surface, the nuances of their thoughts and feelings.
Okay, I love that. But it's one thing to talk about the theory, it's another to see it in action. And the script shares a story about Sarah, a manager who's having trouble with team communication. She realized her listening habits were holding her back, so she made a real effort to improve. What happened?
This is where we see all those tips come to life.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah started using active listening techniques, putting away her phone during meetings, and asking her team more open-ended questions. And guess what? It had this ripple effect.
So it wasn't just about Sarah becoming a better listener, it was about creating a more positive and productive environment for the whole team.
Exactly. Her team felt more valued and more engaged, and their productivity went way up. It just shows how powerful listening can be, not just for you, but for creating positive change all around you.
That's a powerful example. It's like a reminder that listening isn't just about taking in information. It's about building relationships, working together, and just making things more harmonious and productive.
Absolutely. It's a skill that impacts everything in our lives, from personal relationships to our careers. And the best part is we can all learn to be better at it.
So we've covered why good listening is important, the common pitfalls, and a few practical tips for improving our listening skills. But there's so much more to explore. In part 2, we'll dive even deeper into the nuances of listening and uncover some advanced techniques to take our skills to the next level. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're in the middle of this awesome deep dive all about listening. We've already talked about some cool stuff, but I want to go deeper. Before the break, we were talking about Sarah, that manager who transformed her team by becoming a better listener.
Right.
It makes me think, is there like a difference between just hearing someone and really listening to them?
That's a great question, and it's something the script talks about, too.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing is just, perceiving the sound. It's passive. But listening, that's active. That takes effort, like you're flexing a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
You have to focus and understand and then respond in a thoughtful way. It's about using your mind, not just your ears.
So it's not just about the words, but like the emotions and the intentions behind them.
Yeah.
Like if a friend tells me they had a long day, hearing is just acknowledging they spoke, but listening is like picking up on their tiredness or frustration.
Exactly. And that's where empathy and emotional intelligence are really important. To really listen, we have to step outside of our own heads and try to see things from their point of view. Think about their experiences, their emotions, even their unspoken thoughts.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually do that? The script mentions something called reflective listening. What is that?
Reflective listening is super helpful. It's basically about paraphrasing what the speaker said to make sure you're on the same page.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, yeah, I get it, you might say, so if I'm hearing you right, you're feeling stressed. Because
Oh, so it's not just repeating their words like a parrot, but like reflecting the meaning and emotion back to them. It shows you're not just hearing, but trying to get their experience.
Exactly. It lets them know that you get it, and it gives them a chance to clarify if you missed something.
Yeah.
It's really good at diffusing tense situations and building understanding. Honestly, just feeling heard can be such a relief.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I gotta admit, staying focused can be tough, especially these days.
Yeah.
We're just bombarded with information and distractions constantly. How can we listen well when there's so much going on?
It's hard. It's a battle. The script suggests making a good listening environment whenever you can, like minimizing distractions, noise, visual clutter, that kind of thing. Maybe put your phone on silent and find a quiet spot. It just shows that the conversation matters.
So it's not just about silencing your phone, but like creating a mental space to be present.
Yes.
And maybe even like jotting down notes to help stay focused and remember stuff.
Totally. And here's another point from the script. Being aware of our own biases.
Oh, interesting.
We all have these preconceived notions and filters we see things through.
Yeah.
And they can actually stop us from truly hearing what someone is saying.
So it's not just outside distractions, but the filters in our own minds.
Yeah.
We might like unintentionally twist someone's words to fit our own beliefs, even if that's not what they meant at all.
That's it. That's why we have to go into conversations with an open mind and be ready to challenge our own assumptions. Be willing to see different perspectives. Recognize that we don't know everything and there's always something new to learn, even if it changes how we see things.
That's such a good reminder. Speaking of challenging assumptions, the script mentions something that's kind of crazy. It says up to 93% of communication is nonverbal. 93.
Wow.
So it's not just about the words, but our body language, our tone, our facial expressions, all of it.
Exactly. Nonverbal cues can tell us so much about how someone's really feeling, even if their words are saying something else. It's like a secret language we all speak,
So like someone might say they're fine, but their shoulders are slumped and they're frowning.
Exactly. Learning to read those subtle cues makes you a way better listener. You can pick up on unspoken emotions and connect on a deeper level. It's like a superpower.
This is all so fascinating. We've talked about the difference between hearing and listening, the importance of empathy, nonverbal communication, and being aware of our own biases. There's still more to uncover though, right?
Oh, yeah. I think what we've learned so far gives us a good foundation for some more advanced stuff. In part 3, we'll get into the how-tos of actually becoming a better listener, like actual strategies you can use today.
Okay, before we get to the last part of our deep dive, what's resonated with you the most so far? What stands out as the most important takeaway? Okay, we're back for the last part of our deep dive on listening. We've talked about why it's important and what it is, but now I really want to get into the how. Like, what are some things we can actually do to get better at listening?
Well, we already touched on active listening earlier, but let's dig a little deeper. It's all about going beyond the words. and really engaging with whoever is talking, like both verbally and non-verbally.
So it's about showing them we're not just like zoning out, but actually thinking about what they're saying and trying to see things from their side.
Yes, exactly. And one of the best techniques for active listening is paraphrasing. Just summarizing what they've said in your own words to make sure you got it.
So instead of just saying, uh-huh, we could say something like, it sounds like you're feeling frustrated because,
Yeah, perfect example. Paraphrasing just shows that you're paying attention and that you're trying to get where they're coming from.
yeah,
It also gives them a chance to say, no, that's not what I meant if you've got it wrong. It can really help stop misunderstandings and make a stronger connection.
it's like reflecting their thoughts and feelings back to them so they can see that you're actually trying to understand. What about asking clarifying questions? Is that part of active listening too?
For sure. Clarifying questions are key to making sure you're both on the same page. Like, instead of just assuming you know what they mean, try asking things like, can you say more about that? Or, what did you mean when you said? It just shows you're really interested.
I get that. It can help avoid those awkward moments when you think you understood something but then realize you were totally wrong. It's about making sure you're not just hearing words, but really understanding what's behind them.
Exactly. And sometimes the most important thing we can do is just acknowledge how the other person is feeling, especially when things are getting kind of heated. Even if you don't agree with them, you can still say you understand how they feel.
So, like, if someone is really angry or upset, we might say, I can see you're really upset about this, even if we don't get why they're upset.
Yeah. Acknowledging their feelings doesn't mean you're saying they're right. It just shows you respect what they're going through. And sometimes that's all someone needs to feel heard and understood.
It's about making them feel safe to express themselves without being judged. I think it's easy to try and jump in with solutions, but maybe the best thing is to just be there and really listen.
That's it. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just be present and listen. Your presence can be more powerful than words.
Wow, this has been a really cool deep dive into listening. We've learned so much from what it means to really listen to some great techniques to get better at it.
Yeah, we've seen that listening isn't just something that happens. It's a skill that we can work on and improve.
Mm.
And the benefits are huge. Stronger relationships, better communication, more empathy, and understanding. It all starts with listening.
It's like everything is connected. When we're better listeners, we don't just improve our own lives, we make things better for the people around us, too.
So as we finish up, I want to challenge you to take what you've learned and use it. Pay attention to how you listen, watch out for your own biases, and really make an effort to hear and understand the people around you.
And remember, listening isn't just a skill, it's like an art. And if you practice, you can become a master listener, which will make your life better and the lives of everyone you connect with better, too.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of listening. I hope you got a lot out of it.
Until next time, keep those ears open, those minds engaged, and those hearts connected.